friends, welcome back to Food Prep Guide. Egg prices are absolutely ridiculous right now, so let's chat about some egg alternatives that are much cheaper. Most of them are going to be egg alternatives for things like baking ingredients, but I did want to provide one that could be used as an alternative when you're making like an omelet or even scrambled eggs. The main ingredient for that one is a little bit strange, but it is actually a multi-purpose pantry staple that I personally choose to stock because of its versatility. And so I'm going to talk to you about how to use it as an egg substitute, but also the other different ways that you can use it. And then we'll just go through and briefly list some different alternatives that you can use for eggs in your baking goods. Let's get started.
By the way, if you would like help building your food storage, scroll down to the description box of this video and click this link for our free 1-year food storage plan. We calculated a year's supply of food for one person, then broke that data down into a week-by-week list of items to build your pantry on a budget. We'll send it straight to your inbox. If you're new here, we invite you to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss all of our upcoming food preservation, pantry storage, and gardening tutorials. Now back to the kitchen.
Okay, item number one, let's talk about that super weird one that can be a replacement for omelets and scrambled eggs, and that is a chickpea flour mixture. So chickpea flour is just ground up dried chickpeas, like the bean, the pea. Now, they're also called garbanzo beans. You may have seen them called garbanzo beans. So I discovered and got really familiar with chickpea flour back in a time when my family had to be gluten-free and grain-free and dairy-free and processed sugar-free and very limited on what we could eat. And chickpea flour, when mixed with your typical cookie dough type recipes, especially with, you have to add peanut butter, but it makes an excellent cookie dough base. Throw in some chocolate chips and you have a wonderful chocolate chip peanut butter recipe. We have that on the website, and so I will link that down below if you're interested in a gluten-free, grain-free, dairy-free, all the things free, but still delicious chocolate peanut butter cookie that uses chickpea flour. So that's how we first discovered it. If you are a friend of the channel, you know that I have mentioned many times that I don't like stocking ingredients that are single use. I really try to fill my pantry with multi-purpose uses because I live in a small house and I want to live as frugally as possible and keep our grocery budget as low as possible, which means not purchasing all the things. And chickpea flour fills that gap perfectly. So like I said, cookie dough, diet friendly, diet restriction friendly alternative. But we are talking about egg substitutes in this video. So I want to read off the recipe for using chickpea flour as an omelet base. So the recipe is half a cup of chickpea flour, half a cup of water, 1 tablespoon of olive oil, a 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric. The turmeric is not really for flavor, it's more for color because eggs are, yellow. You're not going to get that bright, vibrant color with just chickpea flour, so the turmeric is really trying to mimic that egg type color. A 1/4 teaspoon of black salt and a pinch of regular table salt. So essentially it's equal parts chickpea flour and water. If you wanted to double that or triple that, just know that the ratio is pretty much equal parts chickpea flour and water, and then it's just turmeric for color, the water, not the egg, and the salt and pepper. I'm going to mix those all together, and here's the really important part. After you mix all the ingredients together, you want to let them sit on your counter undisturbed for 10 to 15 minutes. This is an extremely important part of the process because what it does is that all the water soaks up and really works into that chickpea flour and gives you the much better texture that's going to mimic a scrambled egg or an omelet type egg a lot better. If you mix it up and pour it straight into your skillet, you're going to end up with a runny mess. So let it sit and rest for 10 to 15 minutes, and that's going to give you the best option. The other thing, there's one more thing. Oh yes. So the other purpose for chickpea flour is just to add water, hummus. Hummus is made from garbanzo beans, chickpeas, same thing, 2 names for the same item. And if you add water to your chickpea flour and then add your other ingredients, I can't think of that weird word, it's like a pasty thing, I can't think about it, but it's the main ingredient in hummus. Mix that and then flavor it however you want. If you want a roasted garlic, throw in some roasted garlic. We love a pesto style hummus. Pesto style hummus is fantastic. Red pepper is really good as well. But yeah, you can essentially make a just add water hummus mixture with your chickpea flour too. So cookies, hummus, eggs, absolute wonderful pantry staple to have on hand. It does not taste good just plain. Let me just put that out there. It's, if you just mix it up with water and taste, you're gonna be bleh. But it is excellent for making alternatives of things when you just don't have or can't afford, or your diet won't let you have the other options that are taste better. Okay, so that is number one. Number two is a pear. I'm going to put number two and yeah. Yeah, let's go ahead and put these together because it's chia seed and flax seed meal. The reason why I want to put these two together is because they are used exactly the same way and the water is reconstituted in the exact same way. So you can use chia seeds. You can also use flax seeds, and this is ground flax meal. You can use whole flax seeds. They store longer. Anything whole is going to store longer than it being ground. But all you have to do is throw it in a coffee grinder and grind it up, and then you have flaxseed meal. But for an egg substitute, you do want to use flaxseed meal. So if you have regular whole flax seeds, just go ahead and grind them up. The chia seeds and the flaxseed meal work the exact same way. The ratio is 1 tablespoon of either one to 3 tablespoons of water. You're going to stir, and just like the chickpea flour, you're going to let it sit for a few minutes. Now, you don't have to let it sit as long as the chickpea flour, just about 5 minutes, and you're going to get what's called a chia egg or a flax egg. So all of these egg substitutes really serve a certain purpose. When you think about how an egg is used in the recipe, think about that to determine which option you choose. So eggs typically serve 4 main functions in recipe. It might be a binding agent, it might be a moisturizing agent, it might be a leavening agent, and it might be, like I already said, binding, right? But providing structure, that kind of goes with binding. But think about what the egg does in that particular recipe and then try to match it up. So the chia seeds and the flax seeds are both going to be for binding. If you need to keep something together, like, I'm trying to think, oh, a meatloaf. This would be perfect in a meatloaf. So an egg is essentially binding together a lot of the ingredients in meatloaf. So if it's binding in a meatloaf, then when you go to replace the egg in a meatloaf, you would use a chia egg or a flaxseed egg. The chickpea flour, that's totally different because that is for, like, you are wanting to make an omelet. But when it comes to using baking ingredients, if the egg is binding, go with one of these. If the egg provides moisture as its primary action in the recipe, then applesauce is an excellent alternative to that, or yogurt. Now, the whole reason we're doing this video is because eggs are through the roof right now, but so is dairy, and yogurt is dairy, and so yogurt isn't going to be really a budget-friendly alternative at this point in time. So applesauce, I would probably gear more towards applesauce. If you are a canner and you can a bunch of fruit sauces, applesauce is like a placeholder for any fruit sauce. Pear sauce, what's another really popular one? Peach sauce, is that a popular one? Apple butter. Apple butter. Think about the consistency of applesauce, so you can also use fruit butters. The only thing that I would say is just bear in mind that that flavor is going to come through in your recipe, but that's not always a bad thing, right? When we're making like quick breads, I'm thinking about muffins, cupcakes, quick breads, that kind of thing, a sweet bread. In general, adding a fruit butter or applesauce instead of your egg, that's only going to add more delicious flavor. So that would be when I would turn to fruit sauce or applesauce, is when I need moisture and I don't mind that extra sweetness and slight tartness of the fruit. Last but not least is going to be mashed banana. This is going to be when you need some moisture, but you also need some binding action. It's not going to be as binding as the flax egg or the chia egg, but it's still going to provide you some moisture, and it is still going to help kind of hold things together. Typically, I will do half a banana for an egg. We have a banana muffin recipe that uses 3 or 4 bananas, I think, in it, and it does an excellent job of taking the place of eggs. So I think that is all. If you take away nothing from this video, I want you to take away my highly recommendation of chickpea flour. It is one of the blessings that came out of a very, very hard and trying season in my life. with dietary restrictions, but being able to discover something that is so multi-purpose is one of the things I am very thankful for despite those very trying days. Okay, y'all, I hope that was helpful to you. I hope it helps you save some money on eggs at the grocery store. And that is all for today. We will see you next time. Bye.